Hello viewers, welcome to you all in the final lecture of the series on lasers. And in this video lecture, we will discuss about the applications of laser. I am Dr. Vijaysharma, Assistant Professor, Department of Physics, Government Mahila Engineering College, Ajmer. As we all know, that laser plays an important role due to its outstanding characteristics. That includes highly coherent properties, extremely intense properties, monochromaticity, as well as directional properties. And due to these characteristics, these lasers found application in different area of research and development of science, engineering and technology, in medicine, etc. So the content of this lecture will be applications of laser in these three categories. However, it is not so easy to make them distinct in a specific category because laser found application everywhere nowadays in our common life. And generally speaking, that since a laser produces a very narrow and intense beam of light, so it can vaporize anything which comes in its way. It shows the power of laser, how powerful laser is. And this laser has widespread application in industry, surgery, entertainment, etc. also. So we will look one by one what are the specific application of these different kind of lasers in science, engineering, technology and medicines. In science, lasers are used in many ways that includes a wide variety of interferometry techniques as well as spectroscopy. We are here to study Raman spectroscopy. It is also used for atmospheric remote sensing. In interferometry techniques, we have to use this to study Michelson interferometer, Fabry-Perot interferometer. These includes the interferometry techniques where in order to find out a sustainable interference pattern, we need that light source should be highly coherent and laser satisfied that condition. So it is used for this purpose specifically. And as we know that due to its high degree of coherence and monochromaticity, these laser is ideally suited in meteorology. In meteorology, what we do that it includes the science and system of measurement for measuring lengths, velocities, and optical characteristics of various media. So this is the it is used to be standardization of meters in Michelson interferometer. Then again, where we need this technology. For another technology that is popularly known as LIDAR technology. LIDAR technology is that in which we use laser beam as a radar application. Then that technology is considered to be LIDAR. And this technology of LIDAR technology has application in geology, seismology, also in remote sensing and atmospheric physics also. These laser can also be used to find the range because laser divergence is very low. Whenever laser emits out from its source and reaches to a far distance object, its divergence is a little very low divergence, so it can be used for the purposes of finding the range. In that case, it can be found application in military science, where what we do that to knock down an enemy's tank, what we need, it is necessary to range it very accurately. Okay, so because of high intensity and very low divergence, even after traveling a number of kilometers, laser is ideally suited for this purpose. Similarly, for the same purpose, it can also be used for alignment of the scientific and commercial instrument because its divergence is very low. It can also be used to read the barcode scanners. We can see nowadays in at the airport just to scan the baggages, as well as in different malls. Most of the items nowadays having a barcode on that item, and that can be scanned very fastly by using these lasers. And by using this laser, we can use it as a catalyst, and it can create and it can speed up the reaction. Okay, so it can be used to speed up the reaction in chemistry, especially in photochemistry. When photochemistry is a branch of chemistry in which a high laser power source, which is a potential source, it can induce a nuclear fusion reaction. Okay, and but for this, what we need a mode-locking laser. Okay, and mode-locking laser system are the high energy power pulses, and but the duration of these power pulses should be of extremely small, of order of 10 to the power minus picoseconds order and the femtoseconds order. This much small power laser beam is desired, but the energy of these pulses are very high. So this is also used to create in photochemistry, as well as to speed up the chemical reaction. Another important part of using the laser is we can also investigate the structure of molecules and compounds. Using laser, it can be done in a very easy manner in comparison to other type of light. Environmental monitoring instrument is also applied with the laser science. In that case, these lasers can be used because they are very sensitive detectors of pollutants in the atmosphere. So laser can also be used in environmental issues. One most important application of these laser is found in the holography. A holography is a two-step process. In one step, we have to create a 3D image of an object, and in the next step thereafter, we have to reconstruct the image with that hologram. Okay, so these holographic technique employs laser and contribute to a number of measurement techniques. That means once we have to create a hologram, we can measure the stress and strain of the body with the NDS, non-destructive techniques. So it is the important part. Important is in holography, in the first step, it is the interference pattern. So we again require that the laser beam should satisfy the condition of sustained interference. That is, it should be highly monochromatic and coherent. So these properties found in laser. That's why it is very important in holographic process. Laser can also be used in scientific and commercial instruments. So these are the certain applications we found commonly in science. Now we will look the other properties of these laser in science. Laser can also be used for the removal of tattoos. In that, what we do, that laser strikes on the tattoo, and that laser beam breaks up this tattoo pigments in small particles, and thereafter the body's immune system attack on these small pigments and destroy them. So by using this technique, we can remove the tattoos. Also, as already told, it is used for scanning the laser barcode at a very high speed. Laser can also be used, as already told, it can be used for metrology, for testing and measuring of the instruments, and it can use the surface roughness tester. By using this, we can also find out. In engineering applications, especially, laser found a lot application in all communications, and a very useful and interesting application of laser is in the field of communication through optical fiber communication, and it takes the advantage of its wide bandwidth and narrow beam width. Since laser has a very small beam width, so it is very important and it can travel over a long distance, and all the TV transmission of program to the entire world is an application of this laser. So it found a vital role in optical fiber communication. These laser also found application in microelectronics, where the laser beam interacts directly with the circuit board and semiconductor chips containing memory and logic circuits. Nowadays, tiny solid-state lasers are widely used in electrical devices. These lasers are a primary component of some of our most common modern communication system, are the process that generates the audio signal from our compact display. Okay, and a laser beam replaces the phonographic needle in compact disc audio system for music reproduction of extremely high fidelity. A laser can also be used for the photographic recording of output data of computer. So laser can found application in CDs as well as computer devices. Even in computer devices, laser mouses use this technology as a method to navigate through the surface to understand movement. For instance, we are for a little moment, and laser pointer and scanner are also very useful nowadays. because we have laser printer with us, we have laser scanner with this, because they process at a high speed in comparison to the previous technologies. So laser found application in computers. Even nowadays, robotic science, that is robotic sensors detect laser beam, and by using them they can calculate the distance, because laser strike on the object comes back, and due to the measurement we can find out that this is the distance, this is the speed, and time can be calculated. That can be used in the robotic sensor. These robot can point out a laser beam from its sensor that is coming from the sender, and by using image processing the receivers determine the diameter of such beam and calculate the distance of the robot from the object and surface. So the object, there will be no collision between the object and the robot. See, in the same way, this laser science can also be used in metallurgical engineering or material science engineering. In that case, by using this, what we can do, that we can shape and precisely cut, even we can weld or drill of tiny holes in hardest material by using these laser beam, because laser beam can be focused at a single point, and at the single point it is focused, it is highly intense and coherent, so it creates a high temperature at that point. And by using this technology we can create and we can cut the hardest material in industry, which is not so easy in general terms. It requires a lot effort. Laser can also be used in underwater schemes. Underwater laser, a source of underwater transmission is required. Okay, so laser can be used for communication between submarines, those are inside the water, ensuring absolute privacy, and in guidance system for torpedoes and other unnamed underwater vehicle. Recently, what we have achieved, that underwater laser communication has been established via satellite. That means now from ground to satellite and then to underwater station, communication can be done by using these lasers. It is a very important application in respect to the military science and the security system of the nation. Using these laser, we can design guided anti-tank missiles, and these missiles can guide and control by an IR, that is infrared beam, that is emitted from a laser, because infrared laser beam have extremely small divergence. So using the property of the divergence or the directional property of the laser, we can use it in anti-tank missile also. And heating process, laser can be used to allow selective surfaces hardening against wear with little or no distortion of the component. So these are the certain phenomena we can use. Even laser can also be used in cooling technology. So ultimate meaning here is the laser found application in all engineering branches, subjected to what we want with this laser. Now, in order to be describe it more clearly, in modulation system, that is in fiber optical communication. In fiber optical communication, what we do, that laser travel down a fiber optics glass at a speed c by mu, because c is the speed of the electromagnetic wave and mu is the reflective index. So whenever light travel in a media, its speed goes lesser. In that case, that light carries information. And since different wavelength travels at different speed, so there will be a dispersion, and at the receiving end the light is observed to be spread. So this is associated with the data or information loss, because light is diverging now and it is dispersing, and as the speed is greater the information loss is become higher. So in order to reduce this, what we can do, we can take a more coherent beam, and by taking this more coherent beam, that is laser, the loss can be greatly reduced. So it is also required in optical fiber communication, and we do it by the process of modulation. In this process of modulation, what we do, we combine audio signal on the laser beam, because audio signal is very weak in nature, and in order to transmit it at faster rate, we use this laser beam. So they will be combined, they will be transmitted, and a demodulator demodulator removes again the audio signal with the modulated laser beam. So whatsoever the change in the beam is represent information in the audio signal. So using this technique, we can use modulation of the laser signal to be transformed from one end to other end. In military application, as already told, it is used for range finding, that is where is the object, target destination, to point out target, where is the actually the target. It can also be used to illuminate the object, what we have recently done in surgical strike in India. And laser targeting is like this. So firstly, we have to point out where is the enemy's tank, and thereafter we have to shoot out it by using laser spot on the target. As another way to be used in metallurgical science and material science, that is the laser cutter and laser welding. In that case, no human contact with the part during operation is required, because most of the part is done by using this machine. And to control this machine, we have a computer program with us. We have to give the commands on the computer, and accordingly the needle of or the nozzle of this moves wherever it is required, and just by pressurizing gas inflate laser beam and focusing it on the part, we have to cut, and we can also be weld the object. So in medical science, it is having a very crucial part nowadays, because in most of the surgeries we require these laser. Okay, and in health related issues, laser had the great impact, and by using lasers, scientists and the doctors or the researchers nowadays are able to point out to cancer cell to destroy them, and sometimes they do not need to cut the patient's body in order to apply their surgery. In cases that cutting may create other issues, and in some part may not even be possible. So it is this laser having a very crucial and the critical part in surgeries. Even in surgeries, these laser has proved a more delicate and accurate instrument than the finest scalpel which we use in times of surgery. It is these laser can also be considered as a bloodless surgery tool, and it can removing small tumors, cutting and delicate applications because of its property. These laser can also be used to fragment gallstone, stones in kidney and eye surgery. Laser therapy is completely painless. So these are some important features of these lasers, which is used in medical science nowadays. Laser can also be used for low-level laser therapy, and it's typically used for therapeutic and stimulating skin treatment. And it involves, but it involves a laser of low power. It should be important to be noted that power should be very low, and generally used in surgical operations. For dentists, that is in dentistry, laser enables dentists to perform a wide variety of dental procedures, and they otherwise might not be capable of performing. So what they do actually is, when the laser is used for curing and filling, because most of the people having cavity inside their teeth, and they require to fill the cavity. So in order to be curing and the filling, it helps to strengthen the bond between the filling and the tooth. Some of the people want to be the cleaning of their or bleaching of their tooth. So in teeth whitening procedure, the laser act as a heat source, and that enhance the effect of tooth bleaching agents. In ophthalmology, various type of laser are being applied for either diagnostic or maybe for therapeutic purposes. And it is also used in gynecology, it is used in neurosurgery, in dermatology. In neurosurgery, laser deals with disease of CNS, that is central nervous system, that is the brain and the spine. The surgery of brain tumor is very difficult. It is not so easy, since extremely localized operations are needed due to the complicated structure and fragility of the brain. So lasers are able to cut, vaporize, and coagulate tissues without mechanical contact. So this is of great importance or significance when dealing with very sensitive tissues in neurosurgery. It is also applicable in dermatology. In dermatology, the thermal effects of laser radiations are commonly used, and especially coagulation and vaporization is done. Since the optical parameter of skin, that means absorption and scattering, are strongly wavelength dependent, so various kind of tissue reactions can be evoked by different laser system. Nowadays, orthopedicians are also using these lasers, and they predestinated for the efficient treatment of bone. Laser can also be used in angioplasty and cardiology, and it is also used in urology, gastroenterology diseases also. So if we look that laser is used in this medical science in LASIK. In LASIK, actually, whenever there is a defect in eye in terms of viewing some object, that is myopia and some other diseases, then in that case, in order to be removed, the effect is on the our corona, that our corona shape is slightly we get disturbed. So in that case, by using this laser, what we can do, we can remove the tissues from corona to change its shape, and then corona is reattached. So this technique is known as LASIK, and it's the most important application used in laser eye surgery. That means the correction of corona in the eye. So in summary, what we can summarize that laser is of different type, and they have different features, and based on their types or their feature characteristics, they found applications. So we have just ordered out that if we categorize the lasers in general laser, high power laser, ultra fast laser, then in that case the feature is different. And the applications is, if we are taking general laser, so these general lasers are coherent and monochromatic source, and if they are coherent, it is desired in interferometry, and if they are monochromatic, then they are found in holography. So if we require in any of the application, accordingly we have to consider its feature. High power lasers, that is and these high power lasers having two different features. One is in the CW power mode, that is continuous wave power mode, as in HENE laser, and another is high pulse power laser in pulse form, that is Ruby laser. If we require this high power laser, then it can be used in material science processing, and high pulse power laser is used in medical application. This high power continuous wave power is also used in nuclear fission. High power pulse power is required in medical application because they give output in form of spikes, that is at some time their output is very high and it can be stopped at the part. Some ultra fast laser is also used, and they can be used for the dynamics of physical, chemical and biological processes. And for that, what we require, that the pulse should be of short duration of time. It is of less than of 5 femtosecond. So it is a very small pulse, but the energy of such pulses is very high. And if we need for the spectroscopy purposes, even or for pulse shaping, then we require that the broadband gain of the laser should be of more than 300 nanometers. And for spectroscopy or for high energy processes, that is nuclear reactions, what we need, that high peak power is required, and this is of the order of more than terawatt. So this is all about the lasers. We have initially started with the how laser is distinct from the light, what are the consideration or processes happening in the laser source or the laser material, and we have interact with the absorption process, spontaneous emission, stimulated emission. Thereafter we have find out the fundamental component, that the basic component of the laser we have achieved, and we have conditions how the laser will be initiated. We have discussed the definition of population inversion and pumping, active medium, metastable state. Thereafter we have discussed three different kind of laser, that is ruby laser, helium neon gas laser, and thereafter semiconductor laser. And in this lecture we have discussed a lot application of laser. Hope you will found all these lecture very beneficial to you. Now before to conclude with this, I wish to conclude it with this quote of Dave Barry, which is a Haverford alumnus. And according to Dave Barry, lasers are amazing device which emits beam of light powerful enough to vaporize a bulldozer, yet are so precise that they can be used in optical surgery. So laser found a large scale of application. It includes from optical surgery to vaporize a bulldozer, provided the surgeon remembers to change the setting on the laser to delicate optical surgery from vaporize a bulldozer. So thank you to you all for watching my video. Hope you have liked this series. If you found this series useful for you, please do not forget, these are the references. which I have used. I acknowledge the different contributors those have worked on this principle, and thank you for watching this video. You can write me to my email ID vijaysharma@gweca.ac.in for your comments and suggestion. For watching previous lectures of the series, you can visit the links given below. Thank you once again. Goodbye.